Everybody, this is Perch, and I'm looking at a tweet here from Chuck Dixon. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, there's a culture war conversation. We're here for it. But no, this actually has nothing to do with the culture war. Now, I'm sure you can find a way. But on the surface, it's actually much more simple than that. So it basically reads, you could probably see it on the screen here. Seriously, DC Comics stopped paying freelancers any international royalties in 2009. They never sent out any of their patented friendly letters to inform us. They just stopped paying and hoped no one would notice. Given the fact that foreign publishing, particularly in Europe, is more robust than ever, writers, artists, and others are being cheated out of thousands of dollars annually. All right, there you go. That's the tweet. Remarkably, it did not get a lot of pickup. Um, it's unfortunately, this is one of those cases where in a normal, healthy, sane world, you would see creators of all types, independents and Republicans and Democrats and socialists and capitalists and people who like furries and whatever it happens to be. You would see them all band together to go, hey, this doesn't seem fair. Somebody is owed a royalty for something. You're not paying a royalty. You're kind of obscuring the numbers. What gives? What this? We can all agree about this, but I think a number of people were scared to retweet something of Chuck Dixon. I got this advice from a writer who's also written some stuff with Batman, who mentioned, hey, you shouldn't ever mention Chuck Dixon. They gave me actually a little list of people that I shouldn't talk about if I wanted my channel to be accepted. And I remember kind of struggling with the answer for a while, and I think I struggled so much I just didn't answer. But I was going through all the different things, trying to explain it logically. Like, hey, this channel is actually not a business for me. It's not it's not boner material either. It's just I'm bored. I'm talking. I'm putting it out. People want to listen to it. Great. I think generally speaking, I'm as happy if there's 2 views on these videos as 10,000 views on the videos. Honestly, I understand. You can believe that or not believe it. I don't really care. That's I'm just doing this because I enjoy talking and putting this stuff out there. And I used to really like talking to people. And like I've said before, when the shop opens up and I'm talking to people in the shop more, assuming I'm in the shop, then I expect these videos to dramatically decrease. There won't be as much because I'll be serving that need there. So I tried, thinking that angle, and then I thought of a different, like a more defiant angle, like, why would I, Chuck Dixon, some of these other people on the list, it's the usual assortment of YouTubers, they're like, don't talk about Zach, don't talk about just some guy, don't talk about this person, that person. And it's like, okay, I still am of the mind that I'm going to talk about whoever I want. But Chuck Dixon's name on that list was particularly egregious because it's like, look, even if I signed on, which I don't, to the rest of this, he's made comics. I'm just supposed to go, whoop, not going to talk about this guy, and that's what's going to cause me to be accepted. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to talk about whatever comics I feel like talking about, and I'm not going to avoid anyone. If they made a comic, I'm going to talk about it. If I'm looking at the Grant Morrison X-Men run, Ethan Van Sciver's name's going to come up. Why? Turns out he was in that run. This isn't rocket science. It's that was history. Please let me know when you invent the time machine to go back and not give him that work. I will stop talking about him in the context of that run. Sound good? That's the deal. But Chuck Dixon has gotten basically fallen into this culture war thing. And here is a guy who's done comics for many, many years, has many Batman and DC comics under his belt, a lot of things that he's put out. And the point he's making here is universal, period. You could bitch about the culture as much as you want, but this is a universal period, which is if you work on a comic and you're owed royalties, you should get those royalties. So what gives with comic companies that tend to try and cheat those rules? Because to be clear, it is cheating, those rules. If you sign a contract and you owe somebody money, royalties, then you owe the money. But this isn't new. In many cases, comics has taken this very, very weird, almost startup kind of small business way of paying people, where it's like, hey, if we don't say anything, nobody will notice. And worse, and this is a claim that's been leveled at Marvel and DC many, many times. Again, not by Chuck Dixon. I read you the entire tweet, but by others who have said that they get this feeling, they get this impression that that if they complain, if they ask about their money, if they basically inquire as to what is owed them, legally, legitimately, not like, hey, I did something and I signed a bad contract and you don't owe me all this money, but gosh, it would be a good thing to do as a nice human being to give me some money. No, this is the case of, hey, I signed a contract. I put something in paper. You owe me this money. And the impression they get is if you ask about that, then you're being an annoyance to the company. And again, not ask like you send a mail every 10 minutes, where's my money? You become the Luke Cage meme from his comic, Where's My Money, Honey? Go and chase Dr. Doom back down to Livernia to get your money. But no, just hey, I happen to notice that I didn't get a royalty check this month. I usually do get one. Where's that check? And the impression that they get is if they ask, they're irritating the company for asking what's owed them, and it can cost them work. And this suspicion that the companies, the big two, kind of encourage that feeling, kind of encourage the, if you make trouble for us, we'll not give you work. Now, in my view, if you make trouble for someone, yeah, agreed. Part of what makes business work is when people are able to work happily together and they don't cause friction with each other. Absolutely agree. But asking about money that's owed you is not making trouble. And comics has continually done this, and particularly around international royalties, trade collection royalties, omnibus royalties, places where you're reprinted. It is very common that checks have not been offered. We've done interviews, recent interviews. I won't call it to people, recent interviews with people on the air are recorded in the interview lineup here. Feels like a cheap plug to get you to click on some interviews. We've done interviews where we mention to the creator, oh, like, hey, I saw that your character was being used in a Disney Plus series, or hey, I saw that this character was used over here in this comic. And the original creator, the person who created these characters, is like, I didn't know that. Nobody told me. I'm owed some money. Look, I mean, that's happened a lot. Of the people I've interviewed on this channel, it's happened 4 or 5 times now, on and off the air. I've had a decent amount of people come to me saying, hey, I was looking at one of your videos and you're reviewing a comic, and is that current? Because that was something I created there, and I'm supposed to get paid when that appearance happened, and nobody reached out to me. What went on there? This happens over and over and over. And unfortunately, I talk about things that do go wrong in the comic industry, problems that exist. This is a big one where it's they use the damn, forgot about that, the check's in the mail now kind of approach. In this case, this is there is a lot of money being made internationally. I do think that in many cases, comic publishers kind of assume that you won't notice if something goes to South America or Europe or Asia. There is increasing desire on the part of DC and Marvel to basically maximize more money internationally, with people being hired and a lot of business development happening and mining old material, old comics, old graphic novels to go, to make some money in some new places. It turns out localization has gotten more cheap. It's easier to put stuff out there. You can drop ship something to location. There are a bunch of things you can do, basically, to get this stuff into other markets. And so if you worked on a Marvel or DC book at any point, but certainly between the years of like late 80s through the 90s, through the aughts, you ought to just do a little check. Amazon can be your friend, because Amazon, you can change the settings so it shows you other markets besides just the US, and you can kind of get a sense of, hey, maybe some of your stuff is showing up other places, because Amazon in many cases will add the creators in to the listing where I've seen the publishers not. So this is one of those areas where I just want to be helpful. Go get your money. If you are not paid royalty, if you just quietly just stop paying, yes, it's he mentions in here thousands of dollars, probably more than that. I mean, in total, we're talking tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars that are basically kind of just, we're just going to kind of, escape it over here. One of the biggest areas, and I say it all the time, and it triggers people every time I say it, comics would be healthier if people got paid more. And they don't listen to the second part of that sentence, which is if you pay more to people, if you have a healthier business environment, it will attract better people. That's time proven in all kinds of industries. If there's more money at stake, if there's more things, you will see more people who actually care about their business, who are professionals, who are trying to show up and kind of get their shit done. You will see them migrate to comics because it will be a viable business for them. As long as you keep it impoverished, as long as you keep cheating people, as long as you keep, getting work, signing contracts, and then, oops, I forgot to pay you for any of the money for the distribution to Europe that we've been doing for the last 5 years. Oopsie. If that's your quality, if that's your standard, the people you're going to attract are going to be the lunatics. It's going to be nut jobs who are doing this. It's going to be people who either don't understand basic financials of their own business, or people who are so in love with comics they're willing to get cheated, or people who just have no other options. And there's that. This sounds very like I'm describing everybody in comics that way. Obviously, there are good people in comics for a variety of reasons, but one way to increase that number: you pay people fairly. Don't cheat people. What normal person, what business-minded person would want to go and jump full-fledged into comics when people are getting cheated out of money they're owed? Nobody. Anyway, good post by Chuck. Wish more people would take advantage of it. This is one of those where what would have been really healthy is all the people up and down the industry retweeting that thing, liking that thing, getting that promoted more, as opposed to the, ooh, I wonder if I'm being cheated. Well, Chuck Dixon saying that, and as we know, we're not supposed to talk about that guy. So I'm just going to keep being cheated over here, and I'll just ignore that. I mean, yeah, do whatever you want. Thanks for listening.